Hi children, good morning. I welcome you all to today's video class. In today's video class, you are going to learn all about voices. Let me explain first what is voice. Voice is a form of the verb. What is voice or what do you mean by voice? Voice is a form of the verb which shows whether the subject does something or the subject receives something. So what is voice, children? Voice is a form of the verb which shows whether the subject does something or whether the subject receives something. If the subject does something or if the subject is the doer of the action, then the verb is said to be in the active form. See the example, Rama helps Sita. Here Rama is the subject. He is the doer of the action. Here Rama does something. So when the subject is the doer of the action, the verb helps is said to be in the active form. Okay. Come to the next sentence. Sita is helped by Rama. Here Sita is the subject. She doesn't do anything, but she receives something. So she is the receiver of the action. When subject is the receiver of the action, the verb is said to be in the passive form. So in the active form, subject is the doer of the action, but in the passive form, subject is the receiver of the action. When the subject does something, the verb is said to be in active form. When the action is done upon the subject, then the verb is said to be in the passive form. Okay children, so voice is nothing but, see, the form of the verb. It shows whether the subject is the doer of the action or whether the subject is the receiver of the action. With this basic idea, let me explain the remaining things one by one. We will see. Okay, fine. See the next one. See these two sentences. Children, I have written two sentences on the board. You just compare the first one with the second one. Rama helps Sita. Okay. Sita is helped by Rama. Actually, these two sentences have the same meaning. Both have the same meaning. But constructions are different. In the first sentence, subject Rama is the doer. In the second sentence, subject Sita is the receiver. So this is the difference. Based on this difference, we define the voices. Whether the verb is said to be in active form or whether the verb is said to be in the passive form. Okay. This is the basic criteria. Next, children, where you can use active voice, where you can use passive voice. So in the active voice, subject is the doer. In the passive voice, subject is the receiver. Don't forget. Where we can use active form, where we can use passive form. For example, the police. Let me write in bold letters, then you can see. Visually it is possible. See, the police caught the thief. The police caught the thief. Okay. Second sentence. The thief was caught by the police. Now children, carefully listen to me very carefully. Just to compare the two sentences. The police caught the thief. The thief was caught by the police. Okay. In the first sentence, you know that the police is the subject. Caught is the past form of the verb. The thief is the object. Okay, fine. In the second sentence, the thief becomes subject. Was caught, form of a verb which is said to be in the passive form. This is active form verb. This is passive form of the verb. By the police is an optional agent. Optional agent. Okay. So when you want to give importance to the doer, importance is given only to the doer, that is a subject, then there you can use active voice. But the subject, that is the doer of the action, is not important. Only the action is important. If you give importance only to the action, then you can go for passive voice. Could you understand, children? Is there any confusion? No. Well, so in the active form, importance is given only to the doer. That is the subject of the verb. In the passive form, the importance is given to the action. Here see, the thief was caught. It is crystal clear. The action was given important. By the police is understood. It is an optional agent. May be written or may not be written. May be given or may not be given. Even if you don't write this, the sentence completes itself. The thief was caught by the police. So when the object is well defined, then there is no need for to write the object in the sentence. Okay. So where we have to use active voice? When the importance is given to the doer. Where we can use the passive voice? When the importance is given only to the action, not to the doer. That is the significance of the active and the passive voice. Okay, children. Now you have learnt what is active voice, what is passive voice. And you also learnt where we have to use active voice, where we have to use the passive voice. See now. I will rewrite the same sentences here. Rama helps Sita. Okay, children. Okay. Next, Sita is helped by Rama. Here, this is active subject because the verb is said to be in the active form. This is active verb. Okay. Sita object. Now this, when you change the given sentence into passive form, the object becomes subject of the passive form. Sita is a passive subject. PS stands for passive subject. So this object becomes subject in the passive form. Rama, subject of the active voice, becomes optional agent. Optional agent. Actually, in the passive it becomes the object only, but it is grammatical glossary for that is optional agent. So the subject becomes the object of the passive voice. And then what about the verb? The active form of the verb helps becomes the passive form of the verb is helped. This is passive form of the verb. So these are all the changes done when you change a given sentence into passive form. So when a sentence in the active form is changed into a sentence in the passive form, we have to observe all these rules. Changes of pronouns, changes of verbs, and then changes of tenses. These should be taken into account. So they are called rules of transformation. Rules of transformation. So when you change a sentence from active to passive, you have to observe the transformation rules. I will explain one by one. What are all the transformation rules? Where you have to observe. Okay, nice. Listen to me carefully. Transformation rules. Okay. In the transformation rules, first we have to observe the change of pronouns. Pronouns, how they are changed from active to passive. Changes of pronouns. Changes of pronouns. Okay. See. Suppose if you have the first person of the personal pronouns I, it should be changed into by me in the passive form. We, it should be changed into by us. Okay. You, it should be changed into by you. So they are active voice. They are passive voice. So these pronouns should be changed into these pronouns in the passive form. I should be changed into by me. Pronoun we should be changed into by us. Pronoun you should be changed into by you. Understand, children? Yeah. Next, he. He should be changed into passive form by him. Okay. Then she, it should be changed into by her. Okay. Then it should be changed into by it. They should be changed into by them. Okay. So in this way, pronouns are changed. When you change a sentence from active to passive, I by me, we should be changed into by us, you should be changed into by you, he should be changed into by him, she should be changed into by her, it should be changed into by it, they should be changed into by them. See, I will show you the chart. It helps you to understand this concept easily. Rules. 1. See, I by me, we by us, you by you, he by him, she by her, it by it, they by them. See the chart, children. See, the first person I by me, first person plural we by us, you second person singular and plural by you, third person singular he by him, third person singular she by her, third person singular it by it, third person plural they by them. So in this way, personal pronouns are changed from active to passive. This table gives you a very clear idea about the transformation rules, especially the changes of pronouns. Okay, children, could you understand? Okay, now you do one thing, you just draw the same table in your grammar note and make a note of all the things. Then changes of verbs. Changes of verbs. Second important changes. Second transformation rule. Transformation rule second. Changes of verbs. How verbs changes? See, present tense. In the present, is plus past participle. Suppose if the object is singular, you have to use is plus past participle. Suppose if the object is plural, you have to use are plus past participle. So in the present tense, when you change the present form of a verb into passive form, there you have to follow this passive verbal structure, that is plus past participle if the object is singular, are plus past participle if the object is plural. Okay, fine. Next to past tense. In the past, suppose if you are asked to change a sentence in the past tense to passive form, you have to follow the following passive structure in the past tense. See, was plus past participle. If the object is singular, you have to use was plus past participle. If the object is plural, then were plus past participle. So if the given verb is in the past form, and when you are going to change that past form of the verb from active to passive, you have to follow this passive structure. Okay, clear, children? Good. Then next to future. Now let me explain all the simple tenses. How verbs gets changed in its form when you change a sentence from active to passive. This is simple future. So will plus be plus past participle. So will plus be plus past participle. Shall plus be plus past participle. Can plus be plus past participle. Okay, so in the simple present, is plus past participle if the object is singular, or plus past participle if the object is plural. In the past tense, was plus past participle if the object is singular, were plus past participle if the object is plural. In the future, will plus be plus past participle irrespective of the number of the object, whether it is singular or plural, just you have to follow it. But if it is third person, will plus be. If it is first person, shall plus be. Can is common to both. Can plus be plus past participle. Okay, children. So changes of verbs, you have to observe all these changes when the verb is in the simple form. Okay, then next, continuous form. So simple tenses. Next, continuous tenses. In the continuous tenses, how verbs changed. In the continuous tenses, how verbs changed. Suppose if it is present continuous, see, present continuous. Okay, here is plus being plus past participle. If the object is singular, is plus being plus past participle. We have to use this structure. If the object is plural, are plus being plus past participle. I will give you example for each and every tense. Don't worry, children. Now just observe. Listen to me what I am teaching you. Is plus being plus past participle, are plus being plus past participle. Okay. Suppose if the given tense is present continuous, if the tense form of the verb is present continuous. Suppose if the tense form of the given verb is past continuous, then how will we change it? I will explain. Was plus being plus past participle if the object is singular. If the tense form of the verb is past continuous, was plus being plus past participle. Then if the object is plural, were plus being plus past participle. Okay, so this passive form of the verbs should be followed when the given verb is in the present continuous. These passive verbal structures should be followed when the given verb is in the past continuous. Okay, what about the future continuous? Anyone, can you tell me how will it change future continuous from active to passive? Yeah, you know well. Future continuous cannot be changed into passive form. Yes, I hope. I know that all of you know that fact. All of you know that fact. So future continuous cannot be changed into passive form. Okay, fine. Next, let me explain perfect tenses. In the perfect tenses, how verbs get changed in the passive. Perfect tenses. Okay, suppose if it is present perfect, if it is present perfect, then how the verbs get changed? See, has plus been plus past participle. If the object is singular, then you have to follow this passive verbal structure, has plus been plus past participle. If the object is plural, then have plus been plus past participle. Okay, so these passive verbal structures should be followed if the tense form of the given verb is present perfect. Okay, then past perfect. So past perfect had plus been plus past participle, whether the verb is in singular or plural. Had plus been plus past participle should be followed. Then future perfect. Future perfect. Here will plus have plus been plus past participle. Shall plus have plus been plus past participle, can plus have plus been plus past participle. Keep the structures in your mind, children. You are not supposed to change the structure. If it is present perfect, has plus been plus past participle if the object is singular. Have plus been plus past participle if the object is plural. Past perfect had plus been plus past participle. Whether the object is singular or plural, had is common. Therefore, we have to use this structure. So, future perfect will plus have plus been plus past participle, shall plus have plus been plus past participle, can plus have plus been plus past participle. From this one thing is clear. In the passive form, you have to use only the past participle form of the verb. Okay, very good. I hope all of you now very clear. I hope you understand the transformation rules. Before to attempt changes of the sentences, let me explain some other important things which are related with the transformation. See, transitive and intransitive. Already I taught you, when I taught you the kinds of verbs, at the time I taught you this types of verbs, transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. Transitive and intransitive. A clear idea about these types of verbs is very important for to understand this transformation of sentences from active to passive. What is transitive verb? What is intransitive verb? A verb that requires an object to complete its sense is called a transitive verb. Okay, children? Let me repeat. A verb that requires an object to complete its sense is called a transitive verb. For example, he reads a book. Here he is subject, reads verb. He reads what? A book. So this is an object. Crystal clear. Clearly you can understand this is the object because it answers the question what. Okay, fine. Now he calls his mother. Here he is subject, calls verb. He calls whom? His mother is an object. Okay. So, in the first sentence, to get this book as an object, you have to raise a question, what? You have to raise this question, what does he read? What does he read? Then you will get an answer, a book. Okay. In the second sentence, whom does he call? His mother. Whom does he call? So, the answer what you get for these two questions, the answers what you get for these two questions are called objects in the sentence. So, objects are nothing but the one affected by the action of the subject, or the object is nothing but the receiver of the benefit of the action done by the subject. So, to identify an object in a sentence, you have to raise two questions, what and whom. You can get an answer for any one of these two questions. The answer what you get for these two questions is called a object. Okay, children? Right. So, here in these two sentences, the verbs reads and calls are called transitive verbs because they require an object to complete the sense. Therefore, they are called transitive verbs. Okay, fine. What is intransitive verb? Intransitive verb never requires an object. Without object, they give good sense. They complete the sense. For example, suppose he reads silently. Silently is an adverb. It gives additional information. So here it acts as an adjunct. It's an adverb. A baby smiles Yes, we. Here there is no object. A child sleeps on the cot. So a child is subject, sleeps verb. On the cot, where does a child sleeps? So it is a place, adverb of place. So here is an adjunct. It comes to gives additional information. Okay. So all these verbs here, reads, smiles and sleeps are called intransitive verbs because they don't require an object to complete the sense. Okay, so now you understand the difference between transitive and intransitive verb. A verb that requires an object to complete the sense is called a transitive. A verb that doesn't require an object is called intransitive verb. You can change a sentence from active to passive only when the verb has only when the sentence has transitive verb. So sentence with the transitive verbs, sentence with the transitive verb alone can be changed into passive form. That's very important. Okay, children. So keep it in your mind. Sentences with the transitive verbs alone can be changed into passive form. Okay, fine. Next, how to identify an object? I have given you. I have explained you. So to identify an object, you have to raise two questions: what and whom. Okay, fine, children. So with all these basic things, now you are going to learn how the statements to be changed from active to passive. And more than that, one more thing I would like to explain. These transitive verbs are of two types. Transitive verbs. A verb that requires an object is called a transitive verb. Okay, fine. These transitive verbs are of two types: monotransitive and ditransitive. So transitive verbs are of two types: mono and ditransitive. Yeah, when there is only one object in a sentence, then that verb is called a monotransitive verb. When there is only one object in a sentence, or when a verb has only one object in a sentence, then that verb is called a monotransitive verb. Sometimes a transitive verb in a sentence may have more than one object. Then they are called ditransitive verbs. See, for each I will give you one sentence as an example. He reads a novel. Here this is verb. This verb has a novel as an object. So it has only one object. Therefore, this sentence here, the verb is monotransitive verb. Monotransitive verb. Okay, fine. Now, just carefully observe these sentences. They sent me a message. He teaches us English. Now you just observe these two sentences. They subject, sent verb. They sent what? A message. This is called a direct object. To whom they sent the message? Me is an indirect object. So here you have two objects. When you have two objects in a sentence, then one is called a direct object, another one is called an indirect object. So here now the verb in the sentence is called a ditransitive verb. Ditransitive verbs means they have two objects. Okay, see, he subject, teaches verb. He teaches what? English, direct object. He teaches English to whom? As indirect object. So these two verbs are called a ditransitive verb. Ditransitive verbs. Okay. So transitive verbs are of two types: monotransitive verbs and ditransitive verbs. Monotransitive verb has only one object. Ditransitive verbs have two objects. So when you are asked to change a sentence which has ditransitive verbs, you have to write two passive structures. You have to write two passive forms, two passive structures. So for the verbs, for the ditransitive verbs, you will have to write two passive structures. Okay, fine. Now you are going to see how sentences are transformed from active to passive. How to change the given statement from active to passive. Simple tenses, otherwise they are called statements. How statements are changed from active to passive. What are all the rules behind such changes? As I told you already, as I explained you already, all transformation rules have to be followed strictly when you are going to change statements from active to passive. I write a letter. See, I write a letter. This is a statement. Here the verb is, what is the tense form of the verb here? Present tense. I write a letter. Then one more sentence I give you. He writes letters. This is also a statement. Here I subject, write verb, a letter object. The object is in singular. Okay. He subject, writes verb. When you use the present form of the verb before third person singular, then you have to use yes or es. Okay, fine. That in rules, I hope you know well. Okay, fine. He writes letters, object is in plural. This P stands for plural, this S stands for singular. Okay, children, fine. Now you have to change this active sentence into passive sentence. I write a letter. You know that what is the rule? This object becomes subject. So here I will write a letter. Okay, a letter. What's the structure? A letter is written. The passive structure is plus past participle when the object is singular. In the present tense, when the verb is said to be in the present form, is plus past participle. So a letter is written. I should be changed into by me. Okay. So now you are changed the given sentence into passive. I write a letter is written by me. He writes letters. Here, letters, object plural, therefore are plus past participle. Letters are written. Then he should be changed into by him. Okay. So he writes letters. Letters are written by him. First one, I write a letter is written by me. So when the object is in singular, you have to use is plus past participle. When the object is plural, you have to use are plus past participle. Okay. Then next, simple past. Simple past. So in the simple past, how you change the given sentence from active to passive. See the example, I bought a book. Now the verb is said to be in the past form. Object, a book is an object, it is in singular. You have to change a book. What's the verb structure? Was bought. A book was bought. Then I should be changed into by me. Okay, children. So I bought a book. A book was bought by me. Suppose if it is plural, she bought books. Here also the verb. What is the tense form of the verb? It is in the past form. She bought books. Object is in plural. Now you have to change the given sentence into passive form. This object becomes subject here, books. What's the verb structure? Were. Were plus past participle, so bought. By, bought. I hope you know that. B1, B2 and B3. So books were bought by her. Now you got the passive structure. So when the tense form of the given verb is in the past, you have to follow, you have to observe these rules. So if the object is singular, was plus past participle. If the object is plural, were plus past participle. Okay, children. Next is simple future. See, I shall sing a song. Here shall sing is the verb, shall is the modal, sing is the V1 form. I shall sing a song. Then object becomes subject. A song will be sing, sang, sung. A song will be sung by me. Okay. So here as far as future tense is concerned, the modal should be used. Shall, will, can, may, might, should. Whatever may be the subject. So you have to use will plus be plus past participle. That is the passive verbal structure to be observed. So a song becomes subject here. Then will plus be plus past participle. Don't forget this sentence structure, this verbal structure, children, very important. A song will be sung by me. They will sing songs. Now the object is plural. As I told you already, whether the object is singular or plural, you don't bother. The number of the object doesn't matter. See, here also the same verbal structure should be followed. Songs will plus be plus past participle. Sing, sang and sung will be sung by, they should be changed into them. Okay, children, clear? So in the future, I shall sing a song, object is singular, a song will be sung by me. They will sing songs, object plural, songs will be sung by them. Whether the object is singular or plural, you have to use will plus be plus past participle. Okay, then continuous tenses. Continuous tenses, present continuous. The man is building a house. See, is building. The verb, the tense form of the verb is present continuous. Is the main verb, building is the present participle. Okay, fine. Now you have to change the given sentence into passive. A house becomes subject here. A house is, what is the next? Being. Yeah, don't forget children, is being, build, built, past participle. See, a house is being built by the man. Okay, now you got the passive structure. So, subject, object becomes subject here. A house is being plus past participle. That is a verbal structure in the passive form by the man. They are, see, they are building many houses. They are building many houses. Here, how will you change this sentence into passive? See, the many houses, object becomes subject here. The object is in plural. So, many houses are, okay, then next, being, the next past participle, built by them. So now you got the sentence in the passive structure. So many houses are being built by them. So when you change given present continuous form of the verb into passive form, if the object is singular, you have to follow is plus being plus past participle. If the object is plural, are plus being plus past participle. Okay, children, next past continuous. She was making a kite. Yeah, was making. What is the tense form of the verb here? Past continuous. Was plus present participle. Okay, fine. Object is in singular. Now you have to change it into passive form. A kite was being, you know the third form, make, made. A kite was being made by her. So now you got sentence in the passive structure. She was making a kite. Past continuous tense, was be form of the verb, making present participle. A kite is an object, it becomes subject here. A kite was being made by her. my friends, I will give you one sentence in plural. My friends were making colorful kites. See, in this sentence, my friends is subject, were making. Verb, where is the be form of the verb? Making is the present participle. Colorful kites were object. The objects were in plural. Yeah. Now this object becomes subject here. Colorful kites were being made. See, don't forget children, the structure very important. See, colorful kites were plus being plus past participle. Why do you use here were? Because the object is plural. Okay. So colorful kites were being made by my friends. Okay. I hope you understand. So present continuous is plus being plus past participle. Plural means are plus being plus past participle. Past continuous singular means was plus being plus past participle. Plural means were plus being plus past participle. What about future continuous? You know well that there is no passive form for future continuous. Then the last, perfect tenses. I will give you one or two examples for perfect tenses also. See, perfect tenses. In the perfect tense, first to begin with present perfect. You know that you use present in the present perfect has and have. Okay, fine. They have helped us. They have helped us. How will you change it into passive? See, this us should be changed into we have been helped by them. Here you have to observe the changes of the verbs very carefully, children. They, subject, have helped. The tense form of the given verb is present perfect. Have plus past participle. Has is an object. When it becomes subject, here it should be changed into be. So as should be changed into be. Then as a subject, when this object here becomes subject, it is plural. First person, plural be. Therefore, have should be used. For singular, you have to use has. For plural, you have to use have. That and all very clear to you, I hope so. So, we have been helped by them. Another sentence. He has helped his friend. See, his subject has helped verb and then his friend is an object. Okay. Then it should be changed into passive. His friend. When the object is in the third person singular, absolutely there is no change. His friend means he. Therefore, here also you have to use the same object, his friend. Has been, yeah, the structure is has been helped by, he should be changed into him. So you know well, first third person singular, he, she, it, third person plural, they. Yeah, once again you have to recall, his friend should be changed here into his friend. It retained as it is because it is a third person singular. His friends mean he. Okay, fine. So his friend has been helped by, he should be changed into him. One thing you have to notice here, children, which verb you have to use in the passive, has or have, is decided only by the object, not by the subject. Okay, that's very important. Okay, fine. Then past perfect. She had done her work. Past perfect. Only one example. She had done her work. Her work had been done by her. In the example, her work is an object. Her work had been done by her. Whether the object is singular or plural, here you have to use the only structure had plus been. Okay. And then this is past perfect. Example for past perfect. The last, I would like to give an example for future perfect. Last one, future perfect. How you change the sentence in the future perfect? Future perfect. I shall have called. See, I shall have called my. I shall have called my uncle for my birthday. Look here, children. I shall have called my uncle for my birthday. I subject. Shall have called verb. Shall model, have perfect verb, called past participle. Okay. Whom will you call? My uncle is an object. For my birthday is an additional information, it's an adjunct. So don't confuse that part with the object. Clear, children? Object is different from adjunct. So my uncle should be brought here first. My uncle. When you change the given sentence into passive, you have to locate first the object. Okay. My uncle, yes, will have been. So my uncle will have been called for my birthday. For my birthday by me. See, my uncle, that is the object, becomes subject here. Will plus have plus been plus past participle. That is a verbal structure. My uncle will have been called by me for my birthday. Equally correct. That also you can do. So my uncle will have been called by me for my birthday. Sentence is absolutely correct. You can change it into in this way also. My uncle will have been called for my birthday by me. Both are correct. Okay, children. So, one more example. With that, I would like to finish the first part of this video class. They will have met their teachers. Okay, see, they subject will have met verb. Their teacher's object. Object is plural. Okay, now you have to change the given sentence into passive. What is object? Their teachers. It becomes subject here. Their teachers, yeah, will have been met by them. Okay. So the verbal structure, passive structure is will plus have plus been plus past participle. So far now, you have changed given sentence from active to passive. Simple tenses, present, past and future. You have passive form for all these three. And continuous tenses, present continuous and past continuous. For these two tenses only you have passive form. For future continuous there is no passive form. Then perfect tenses, present perfect, past perfect and future perfect. You have passive structure. Perfect continuous tense, absolutely there is no passive form. Present perfect continuous tense, no passive. Past perfect continuous tense, there is no passive. Future perfect continuous tense, there is no passive. Therefore, children, one thing is clear. For all 12 tenses, you have passive structure only for 8 tenses. So far now, you have learned the transformation rules behind the transformations of sentences, that is statement from active to passive. The remaining things I will teach you in the follow-up videos. Thank you, children.